Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with some warm-up, and we'll start with the defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. When did you first notice that there was any work going on down along Vincent Drive? Oh, a few days prior to the occurrence. How did that come to your attention? We saw them. You mean you and your wife? Yes. Were you driving along Vincent at that time? No, we saw them from our front window. Were you aware before you saw them that there was going to be some construction in the area? Just hearsay. And you became aware that the sewer line was going to be placed along the road, did you not? Yes. Approximately when did you first become aware of that? It would be a matter of a few weeks, I would judge. I don't recall specifically. Did you make any effort to ascertain the nature of the work that was going to be done? No, I did not. Did you make any effort to ascertain the manner in which the work was going to be done? No. Did you have any objection to the work being done? None at all. Now you say you were home on the day when this first happened. Is that correct? Right. Were you able to observe what was going on down there basically from where you were? Not directly in front of our house. At the time you first noticed the cracks, did you know whether the pipe had been laid in the trench? I believe the pipe at that point had been laid. Do you know when the trench along the front of your property and adjacent to the roadway was dug? It was dug that day. Now for some more Q&A practice. We'll start with plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. Would you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record? Susan Ann Lee, L-E-E. Okay, Miss Lee, have you had an opportunity to speak with your attorney regarding the nature of the proceeding here today? Yes. Okay, at the risk of being repetitive, I'm going to be going over most likely what he went over with you. You've been placed under oath by the court reporter, and that's an oath that carries with it the penalty of perjury. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay, have you had your deposition taken before? No. Okay, well, try not to be nervous. Like I indicated earlier, I don't think we'll be long here today, so try to bear with me. After the court reporter has had an opportunity to transcribe everything that is said here today, she'll make a little booklet out, okay? The booklet will be sent to you, and you will have an opportunity to read it and to make any corrections which you deem necessary, okay? So no one expects you to be perfect here today, but try your best, because if you make any substantial changes, that could prove embarrassing to you, okay? All right. Also, wait for me to finish my entire question before you give any kind of a response, because it's difficult for the court reporter to listen to two people talking at the same time, okay? Okay. Try to speak up, because although you can nod your head and use gestures like I do all the time, that doesn't mean anything to the court reporter, as she is listening intently to everything that is said, okay? Okay. Try not to give categorical responses which are or because later, when those are put into the booklet, it's hard to understand if that was a yes or a no, okay? Okay. Don't purposely guess at anything, because I'm not entitled to have you guess, okay? I am entitled to have your best estimate of certain things. Do you understand the difference between a guess and an estimate? Yes. Good. If you don't understand anything that I ask you, or you didn't hear any question, please feel free to let me know, because I don't want you to have to guess at the meaning of the question, okay? Okay. Are you taking any medication, or are you under the influence of any alcoholic beverages which might affect your ability to give some good testimony here today? No. If at any time you want to take a break, please say the word and I will be happy to accommodate you, okay? Okay. Do you have any questions before we begin? No. What is your current residence address? 260 East 3rd Street, Simi Valley. And how long have you resided at that address? Approximately 2 years. And prior to living at that address, where did you live? I was living in Richmond, Virginia for a month. Okay, prior to living in Richmond, Virginia for a month, did you live in Simi Valley? Okay. In Highland? In Highland, yes. Okay, and what street is this in Highland? Summer Lane. What's your date of birth? 7/27/57. Do you know your driver's license number? Yes. And could you give that to me? And 251050. Are you currently employed? Unemployed. You're currently unemployed? Yes. Okay, when was the last time you were employed? June of 09, June 09. 09, and at that time, who were you employed by? St. Joseph's Hospital. And what was your occupation? Nurse's aide. On August 7th, 2009, did you own a 2006 Toyota Camry? Objection calls for a legal conclusion, but you can answer him. That's just an objection for the record. If you understand his question, you can answer. I don't understand. Okay, let me ask it again. Okay, do you strike that? We're here to talk about an accident which occurred back in 2009. I'm going to represent to you that I have a police report that indicates that the accident occurred on or around August 7th of 2009. A Toyota was one of the vehicles involved in the accident, a 2006 Toyota Camry. What I'm trying to figure out is if you had any kind of legal interest whatsoever in the 2006 Toyota Camry at that time. Can I ask him something? Sure, go ahead. You can leave the room. No, that's not necessary. It wasn't my car, but my name was on the car, if that makes any sense. Okay, we'll explore that a little bit, but let's talk about the car more for a minute. Was it a 2006 Toyota Camry? Yes. Okay, and did that have a California license plate 1 PC2520? I'm not for sure what the license plate was. Okay, now you indicated that your name was on, say, the registration of the car, but that it was not your car on the date of this accident. Yes. Okay, can you explain that? My boyfriend and I, he had told me that his license was taken, so he just put the car in my name. And what was your boyfriend's name? Andrew Binford. Benford is spelled B-E-N, no, B-I-N-F-O-R-D. Okay, had the vehicle at some time before that belonged to somebody named Tony Bradford when I bought it? Yes. So Mr. Bradford was apparently the owner before you and or your boyfriend bought it. When did you acquire the vehicle? I don't. You and your boyfriend, however it was, I don't remember. Okay, do you remember if it was like, say, more than a year prior to August of 2009? I'm not for sure. You hadn't just gotten it, say, weeks earlier? I'm not for sure. Okay, that's okay. I'm just trying to see what you know by maybe jogging your memory a little bit. Do you know Keith Majors? Yes. And when did you first meet Keith Majors? I've known him for about 4 or 5 years before 2009, or altogether from today's date you've known him 4 or 5 years. In the past, remember to say yes, yes, if that's what's called for. Yes, thank you. Was Mr. Majors a friend of your boyfriend, Arthur Binford, on the date of this accident? Yes. Do you know Mr. Majors due to his relationship with your boyfriend, Mr. Bradford? Could you repeat that again? Yes, maybe I should restate it. What I'm trying to figure out whether or not you knew Mr. Majors before Mr. Bradford did. I knew him before. Now, when the vehicle was purchased, it was actually Mr. Bradford who put up whatever funds it took to acquire the car. Yes, but the car was actually put into your name, right? Yes. And as far as the Department of Motor Vehicles knew, or anyone else knew, Mr. Bradford's name didn't show up on any of those documents, did it? Objection as to what anyone else knew, but yes, but you can answer that question if you understand it. True. Yes. Do you know Mr. Majors' current address? No. Okay, when was the last time you saw Mr. Majors? About a year ago. When you saw him a year ago, did you know what his address was at that time? No. Did you ever know where Mr. Majors lived? Not prior to where he was staying at the time of the accident. Okay, where was he staying at that time that the accident occurred? I believe in Tustin. Let's finish up this two voice Q&A that we were working on earlier. And we will start with defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. So all the work that proceeded along and through your property was completed in that one day, is that correct? Yes, I believe so. It's just possible that they entered the property from the east on the prior day. To your knowledge, did your work proceed at the same rate that it was intended to have proceeded in spite of your report of the cracking? I think they moved quite a bit faster. Do you have any information or knowledge from which you could determine that they did not in fact intend to backfill the trench in front of your property on that day? I have no indication at all. Did anybody ever tell you they had not intended to do it on that day? No, I think you were asked this before, but I'm not exactly clear on it. Had you gone down to observe the trench area before you observed these cracks on your property? No, no. Do you have any idea what it looked like down there apart from what you could see from up where you were? I do not. Do you know if there was any indication down at the trench of any subsidence or slippage? Not that I know about. Has anyone ever told you that there was any such indication? No. Did you ever ask anyone if there was any? I didn't ask. Now, did you speak to Mr. Duncan that day? No. Did you speak to anyone else? Oh, perhaps the workmen. The workmen came up for coffee and sandwiches. Approximately when was that? In the evening. It was maybe around 6:30. They were working late. Excuse me. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.